All right, so before we start with number 16, like I said, number 69 was asked, so let's go ahead and do this one. This one says to write a polynomial function of least degree with integral coefficients that have the following zeros. Okay, um, so there it is. They gave me two zeros, but since these are both imaginary numbers, that means that I also have a positive 3i and a negative I as well. Because you always have a pair, right? So positive and negative imaginary numbers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and write these out as factors, okay? So I'm going to keep my x minus 3i, x plus 3i, x minus I, and x plus I. Those are all of my answers as factors. You'll notice I kept the i's together and the three i's together, right? Two of them on the left, two of them on the right. And I'm going to multiply them in pairs. So I'm going to do these, and I'm going to do these, okay? So let's go ahead and start off with the left side. So let's see. I'll multiply that first. So I get x squared plus 3xi. Whoops. And then we'll do the other ones here. So that's negative 3xi minus 9i squared. Alright, so that's the first one. And then I'm also going to do the next one. Okay, so let me go back to green here. X times x, x times I. So that's x squared plus xi. Okay, and then we'll do the other multiplication here with the blue. So that's going to be negative xi minus I squared. Now you're going to notice the middle terms are going to cancel. So this is going to cancel here and here. That's going to cancel there and there. So I get x squared and then minus 9i squared. Remember, I squared is a negative 1. So negative 9 times negative 1, that's a positive 9. And then on the other one, it's x squared plus 1, because minus I squared is negative 1, so it's minus a negative 1, so it's plus 1. Now I just have to distribute this again, and I should be done. So let's go ahead and distribute. But with the green here, that's going to be, I guess I don't have to put parentheses anymore. That's x to the fourth plus x squared. And then the 9 is next, so that's going to be plus 9x squared plus 9. So the complete answer will be x to the fourth plus 10x squared plus 9. So where is that? That's D. So yeah, so same thing will happen with the other one, just that with number 70, you're going to write your factors x minus 1, x plus 4, x plus 2. Those are going to be your factors for that. Mm-hmm. Those are all the solutions, yeah, because none of them are imaginary. So, you guys want me to do that one, or just want to try it on your own? We can check it later. Try it out. Okay. So, you want me to try it, or you want to? Try it. Okay. So, any other questions? Again, if you try this and you don't get how to do number 68, ask me tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. Number 70. All right. So for 70, we're dividing by a single term, not by a binomial. So this is not long division. This is what we call like the short division, right? So you're basically going to get every term. So 4, oops, sorry about that. Sometimes, there we go. 4x cubed and divided by 2x cubed. We're going to get 4x squared, and we're going to divide it by 2x cubed. And then we're going to get 4x, and we're going to divide it by 2x cubed. Okay, so let's start with the top one. 4 divided by 2 is 2. and x cubed divided by x cubed, well, that just cancels. So the answer is just 2. So notice, I know A and B can't be answers because they don't even have a 2 in there. Okay? C and D do have 2's in there. So, all right. Let's see the next one. 4 divided by 2, that's 2. X squared divided by x cubed is x to the negative 1, which basically means it's 2 over x. Okay? So notice both of them have a 2 and a 2 over x, so still can't decide which one is the right one. So the last one, 4 divided by 2, that's 2. X to the first divided by x cubed is x to the negative 2, which is 2 over x squared. So the only one that has a 2 over x squared is D. So there you go. This one doesn't have, this one would need a squared term right there. And then also a 2 over x as well. So C is not our answer. Anything else? All right, let's go to number 16. It's going to keep scrolling really quick. Oh, I'm past it. Just waiting for the stuff to show up. There we go. All right. So, number 16 says rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, then sketch the graph. So let's go ahead and rewrite it. So they want it to look like this. Y equals mx plus b. That's what slope-intercept form means. In other words, solve for y. So I'm going to get this 4x and I'm going to move it over to the right side. So I get 5y equals to negative 4x minus 5. And then I'm going to divide everything by 5. So divide this by 5, divide this by 5, and this by 5. So I get y equal to negative 4/5 x minus 1. So yesterday we talked about this at the very end. I said M is my slope and B is my y-intercept. I begin at negative 1, right? So does it look like A crosses at negative 1? Kind of, right? So let's just leave that open. B, yeah, kind of does. Put a dot there. C also. So far, I'm not able to really do anything to disqualify something. And then D, well, D is that positive one. So that one doesn't work. Okay. Now, it says my slope is negative 4/5. So I have to go down 4 over 5. Okay, down 4 over 5. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where 5 would be. Okay, so that doesn't look like it's the right one. B, well, B to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be right here. That one doesn't look right either. C, well, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems to be the right place. So my answer is C. Hopefully on the test, you know, the graphs are easier to figure out in terms of like the y-axis, right? Like not having so many. Here we had 3 options that could have worked, but hopefully on the test only like one of them works. But we'll see. Are we okay with this one? That was number 16. All right, number 17 says, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given the slope and the y-intercept. In other words, they gave me M and they gave me B, and they want me to write it as y equals mx plus b. Remember, that's slope-intercept form. So I'm just going to write the M and the B there and simplify, so I get y equal to negative 3/4 x plus 0, which is just negative 3/4 x. So that's C, and that's done. Okay, so just plug in the information, simplify it, find your answer. 18, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line. So now I got to figure out the actual equation of the line. So when you got to figure out the equation of the line, you still need y equals mx plus b, but I got to figure out what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Now the y-intercept is pretty easy. Look at the graph and where it touches the y-axis. It looks like it's touching right there. What is that number? That's a negative 5. Okay? So I know that b is negative 5. So if I look at my options, D cannot be an answer. Okay? Because that's at plus 4. But the other one's saying minus 5. Now I got to pick another point. So I'm going to pick right here. There's a nice one right here. Okay? What's my slope from one point to the other? What's 2 up, 1 over. So m is 2 over 1. So y is equal to 2x minus 5. So it's A. And you can pick any point. I could have picked, if I wanted to, this point up here. And I would have gone 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 2 over, and 4 over 2 is still 2. So it doesn't matter which ones you pick. Okay? I would have obviously picked the closer one, but because it requires me to do less counting. But anyone, you could have picked the point up here, you could have picked this point here, or even that point up there. Any one of those works just fine. Okay? So, all right, let's do one more here, and before we get to 20. This one says, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line to the given point with the given slope. So, they gave me m, they didn't give me b, so I got to find b. But I'm still going to use this equation. Again, they gave me m, and they gave me a point. That's xy. So let me plug that in. That's negative 4 equal to negative 1 times x, which is 3, plus b. And now I can solve for b, and I'll be able to have my answer that I need. So this is negative 4 equals to negative 3 plus b. And if I move the negative 3 over, I get negative 1 is equal to b. So I know that m is negative 1. I know that b is negative 1. So my equation will be y equal to negative 1x minus 1, or just negative x minus 1, which is A. Right, so before I move on, any questions on anything up to 19, including the other two, 69 and 70, I think it was. So 16, 17, 18, 19. So we've done 6 so far. All right, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line through the given point. So this time they didn't give me the slope, they didn't give me the y-intercept, so I got to figure out both. Okay, in the previous problem they gave me the slope, I just had to figure out the y-intercept. Okay, so I'm gonna, if you're given 2 points, always start with slope. Okay, so m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'll put x1, y1, x2, y2 on my points up there. Let me plug them into my equation. So m is equal to y2, which is 1, minus y1 is 3. And then x2 is 2, minus x1 is negative 1. So m is equal to 1 minus 3, that's negative 2. And on the bottom, 2 minus a negative 1, that's a positive 3. So slope is negative 2/3. So notice C and D are not options. Okay? So if I had to guess, I got a 50-50 shot. I haven't done the problem, but I'm just going to pick B. Let's see if I'm right. Okay? Because now I got a 50-50 shot. So I'll either get it right or I get it wrong based on the pick. So let's see if B's right. I'm going to use any one of the points and my new slope. Okay? So y equals mx plus b. I usually pick the first point, so that's what I'm going to do. But actually, the first point has a negative, so I'm going to pick the second point because that one doesn't have any negatives. So I'm going to use the second point, but it doesn't matter. First, second, who cares? But I'm going to use the second one here. So y is 1, m is negative 2/3, and x is 2 plus b. Looks like I'm going to get it wrong because the answer should be 7/3. All right, so negative 4/3 plus b, because 2 times 2/3 is 4/3. So, and then I'm going to add the 4/3 over, which gives you a 7/3 as b. So your answer is A, not B. So I took a shot at it, I got it wrong. But I had a 50-50 chance versus a 25% chance. So. These are the hardest ones of these types, by the way. Okay? Whenever they want you to write an equation of a line, the hardest ones are always the ones where they start you with 2 points because you have to find the slope, find the y-intercept, and then write your equation. Most of the time, they might give you the slope and the intercept. They might give you the slope and a point, but at least they're giving you something. These are only giving you 2 points, so you kind of have to start from the very bottom and work your way up. Okay? So that's number 20. All right, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line described. So we got 2 here. One is parallel, one is perpendicular. Now remember, if a line is parallel to another line, they share slopes. The slopes are the same. If the line is perpendicular, then their slopes are opposite reciprocal. So they flip and change sign. So for number 21, I'm going to write an equation of a line y equals mx plus b. And they say it has to be parallel to. So that means that besides this point, x and y, okay, my slope is going to be m. My slope is going to be 1/3. Because it has to be the same slope as the line they gave me. That makes it parallel. So remember, I have that slope and this point. So I'm just going to do what I did before. I'm going to use the slope, I'm going to use the point to find my b value, and then we're done. But just so you know, you should be able to answer this thing right now without doing any more work. Which one is my answer? It's A. How do I know it's A? Well, I just told you that the slope has to be 1/3. This one has a slope of 2. This one has a slope of negative 1/3. This one has a slope of negative 1. So the only answer that makes sense is A. But of course, if you're not monitoring, like I said, it's really smart for you guys to look at your options as you do your work. Because sometimes you can cut your work in half because you'll find a piece that only makes sense, right? But anyway, let's go ahead and do the rest of it. I'm going to plug that into this equation. So y is 1, m is 1/3, x is negative 3 plus b. So that's 1 equals to negative 1 plus b. So move the 1 over. And b is 2. So there it is. B is 2. Slope is 1/3. So it has to be A. Okay. So here's your equation. Y equals to 1/3 x plus 2. Now to do 22, it's basically the same thing that we just did, just that our slope is going to be a what? A 2. Because you got to flip the number, so instead of 1/2, it's 2 over 1, or just 2. And then you got to change the sign, so instead of negative, it's positive. So my slope is 2. Can I already tell you what the answer is? Yeah, it's B. The answer is B. I'm done. I don't have to do any work. Now, of course, I'm going to do it just in case you forget to check. Here's what it's going to look like. So I have that point 1, negative 3. So y equals mx plus b. That's negative 3 equal to 2 times 1 plus b. So negative 3 is just 2 plus b. That gives me a minus 5 for b. So y is equal to 2x minus 5. I did that kind of quick. And the reason why I'm doing it quick is just because we don't have to do this work. Okay? I already knew the answer as soon as I figured out what the perpendicular slope was. Right? Now, I'm not saying that on the test it's going to be the same way where your answer is going to pop up immediately. But in this regenerated problem, it came out to look just like that. Okay? Let's see. So 16 to 22, that's 7 problems, 8, 9. Okay. So I got 5 more to do for sure. Hopefully. We'll see. Kind of reaching the 20-minute mark, but we did do some harder problems in the very beginning. All right, this one wants us to graph. Now, I noticed it says less than. Okay, so just real quick. Less than, greater than, the lines are dashed, right? Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, the lines are solid. If it's less than or equal to, you're going to shade down. If it's greater than or equal to, you're going to shade up. So if I kind of want to cheat a little bit, not really cheat, but if I kind of want to cheat a little bit, I can look at number 23 and I notice that it's a less than symbol, right? And since it's a less than, it should be dashed and shaded below, right? I should know that. It should be dashed and shaded below. So is A dashed? No. Is B dashed? Is C dashed? Yes. Is it shaded below? All right, so that might be an option. Is D dashed? Yeah. Is shaded below? Yeah. So it's either C or D. Now, there's one more hint. What was my slope for this one? -1. A negative slope, does that mean the line is going down or going up? Down. So which one makes more sense? C. This one's going up. There you go. I'm done graphing this one. I don't actually have to graph it if I can make sense out of it. Okay, now we can double check it, right? It's supposed to cross 2 and go down 1 over 1 by your slope. Notice it does cross 2 and it goes, well, down 1 over 1, right? It's a half. The units are by 2, so you kind of have to be careful. But it does go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So it's good. But I personally would rather just look at characteristics of the graph. Okay, so look at number 24. I can't do the same game that I just did right now. I have to solve for y first. Okay, did you get one of these yesterday? You were here, sorry. So let's go ahead and solve for y. I'm going to move this 5x over. So negative y is less than or equal to negative 5x. And then I'm going to divide everything by -1. So divide by -1. So y is greater than or equal to 5x. So according to what I see, my y-intercept is 0. My slope is 5. So the line should be going up, right? It says greater than or equal to, and greater means shade up. So greater than or equal to, solid line shaded up. Okay? So does A make sense? It's shaded down. Yes. It is solid though. B? No, dashed. Has to be solid line. C, solid line? Yes. Shaded above? Yes. D, solid line? No. So my answer has to be C. Now just to kind of double check things, it was supposed to cross at 0 and then the slope of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. So there it is. Just to double check. But you really don't have to. Unless the other graphs are so close where you're like, okay, I kind of have to check it. Okay? That's what I like about multiple choice tests is like, again, I mentioned this yesterday. If you know the characteristics of the work that you're doing, like if you know, like I can use this to check here, I can use this to check that. So many of these problems, you don't even have to lift a finger in doing, just observe and be like, that's it, right there. That's the one that makes sense. Okay? All right. So these are supposed to be easy. Okay? I just don't know if you remember. But I want to remind you the formula. Y equals A absolute value x minus h plus k, where A is kind of like your slope and hk is your vertex. That's like the little pointy part. Okay? So What is my vertex for this problem right here? What's my HK? -1, -2. And what's my slope? It's the number in front of the absolute value. If you don't see it, it's 1. So my slope is 1 up, 1 over. Okay? So most importantly, -1, -2. So does part A have the pointy part at -1, -2? Let's see, -1, -2 be right there. No, it doesn't. The part B, -1, -2. Yes, it does. Part C, -1, -2. No, it doesn't. Part D, -1, -2. No, it doesn't. So obviously, my answer is B. It's the only one that has the vertex in the right place. Now, from there, you can do your slope. You can go 1 up, 1 over. So 1 up, 1 over, that's here. 1 up and 1 over to the other side is there. So it works out just fine. But notice, I didn't even have to touch the slope. I just have to make sure that my vertex was in the right place. Now, I may have to mess with the slope in the next one, but let's see. All right, for 26, what is my vertex here? What's my HK? 2, 1. What's my slope? -1 over 1. Okay. So, I mean, the fact that the slope is negative means that the graph shouldn't open up. It should open down. So I can already tell you A, B are not answers, but it's okay. We can just check. So 2, 1. So 2, 1. That should be here. That's not an option. 2, 1 is here. Also not an option. Okay. Let's go to C and D. So 2, 1 is here. Not an option. 2, 1 is there. That is the option. It's the only option. Now, just to double check, let's go down 1 and over to the left and right. So down 1 over to the left and to the right. There it is. So it is the right graph. Okay. So we started we're at 26. We started at 16. So that's 11, 12, 13. So one more, or at least get to a point. I can't do all these, but these are going to be kind of quick. But maybe we'll at least do 27 and 28 and we'll stop there. Okay. So true or false? If a function, one of these functions that we just did, the absolute value function, if it opens up, then my slope should be, my A term should be positive, correct? Notice how this A term is negative. So that's wrong. Let's just check the other two things, okay? If shifts 2 units to the left, so H should be -2 or +2. I think I heard someone say, is it a -2 or a +2 if it shifts to the left? It should be positive, okay? Plus. So that's good. That's correct. 3 units down. So should that be a +3 or a -3 on the outside? That should be a -3. So that all checks out except for the opening up. So this is false. Okay? Why they made it false, true, true, false, I have no idea. But there you go. All right. 28. It opens down. Is that right? Yeah, minus, right? So 10 units to the right. So that should be -10 or +10. It's a -10. -10. It's always the opposite, right? And then 6 units up, so it should be plus or -6. A +6, right? So that all checks out. So that's true. All right? So I'm going to stop there. Let me see. Let me pause this thing.